This is Amanda's show.
Oh, really?
She's going to be in the yeah.
And Noblik and Canning neck and neck.
Technology. I'd say for mayor it's too close to call.
It's 30
by 10%.
Okay, and you got to have kids in there that you had an opportunity to enrich their educational process?
I certainly hope so.
And what kind of stuff were you able to do there in the school?
Goodness. Well, we had a wonderful program. It involved lots and lots of different subject matters from 4th grade up until 6th grade, for 3rd grade up until 6th grade, I should say. And we did a lot of different projects that were based on the curriculum of 3rd through 6th grade.
Okay. So it's kind of an enhanced curriculum.
Exactly. But more fun than that, when we could jump out of the curriculum, was a series of field trips that were funded by the local education foundation that allowed us to take these children.
They're very close. They're all very close. 387, 370, 356. 330. Wow, jingles. I can't even believe.
He's been talking like a man. He's going to win.
Oh, Jill Teckle's going to win. That's nice.
I still find that is not, but let's see.
What do I know?
Proposition
60-40 spread. That's a big spread. Oh, yeah. This early on, you know,
60, because of the legal tax base.
This is the one you get invited to chaperone or something. That's cool.
I hear your birthday's
This is my neighbor. He lives right down the street.
Lily?
Sandy?
No, Lily.
Oh, Lindy. Cool. How old are you?
6.
6. So what do you think of the party here? You like it?
Mm-hmm.
You know why we're here?
Why?
We're waiting for the ballots to come in from the vote. Did you get the vote?
No.
No. Did you help your dad vote?
No.
No. How long have you been missing that tooth there?
A month.
A month? You put it on your pillow? Did you get the tooth fairy come and see you? Oh, that's good.
$5.
Oh, gee. I used to get 25 cents. It's inflation. So anyhow, you're having a good time though, huh? Okay, well, we'll catch up with you a little later, okay?
Or cast the ballots in person, so
See, that's why I called you over here. And
7 votes. Don't put your money down yet.
I'm not. I'm just reading the thing. You know,
Yeah.
the thing's there, and I'm reading it. That's all. See, that's why I called you over, because you know what's going on.
Yeah, the most interesting one on there. Have you talked about the Measure B yet?
We have chatted about
Yeah,
Measure B,
that's
and
the most
Measure
interesting.
B is it appears that Measure B is leading with a comfortable margin.
60 to 40, which is interesting. And I mean, I've tried to resist predicting the election, but that was sort of my guess for the outer limit of how well it would do. Now, whether that's going to hold up with the people who voted today, I don't know. But it's interesting that the mail-in voters went that strongly for it.
So you've been covering this, you've had to field all the letters, you've had to determine which ones went in, which ones stayed out. Ultimately, what do you think Measure B is going to mean for Calistoga?
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting race on the next one, the Enchanted Resorts. I mean, there's a lot of ways to parse it and guess. It may be, I mean, sort of the common wisdom if you talk to people is that if Measure B passes tonight, it's going to be a lot easier for voters to be nervous about Enchanted Resorts and say no. Predicting that kind of thing, though, I mean, it's bad business. I've learned over the years it's bad business to try to psych out the voters because you just don't know. There's no way of knowing.
So you've been in town how long?
Year and a half, almost 2 years.
And you've been covering this thing ever since.
Yeah, pretty much, about a year.
What is having the Silver Rose project going forward and becoming a reality going to mean to the city of Calistoga?
Well, it's certainly going to mean tax revenue. I mean, there's no question about that. And you look at what Solage has done, they don't break out the tax money that Solage provides, but it's quite clear that Solage has provided a lot of the transient occupancy tax and property tax and all of these other kinds of things. So clearly it's going to do that. I mean, it's going to provide a lot of jobs. There is a question of where those people are going to live, or how far they're going to have to drive in here. It's hard to say. I have a lot of faith in the city of Calistoga in terms of its rural character. It's changed a lot over the years. Solage changed it, obviously. The movie theater changed, leaving changed, all of these things changed. It's still a pretty neat little town. So I'm an optimist.
Everything's in a state of change.
I'm an optimist, and so I think that the town will remain a cute, charming, funky little town no matter what happens to it.
Yeah, is a resort with 87 rooms going to destroy the city of Calistoga?
Well, what I said was whether Measure B wins or loses tonight, Calistoga will go on and it'll still be a really great place to live.
Absolutely.
And new people will come and fall in love with it the same way I came and fell in love with it. And I'm sure that I know there are old timers who don't like the way the town is now and, it was better in the old days. I don't know. I never saw those old days.
Yeah, a lot of remember when.
Right, and I still fell in love with the town, and new people are coming to town every day and falling in love with it. And so, win or lose on B, win or lose on Enchanted Resorts, new people are going to come and love this place because it's special.
Now, these elections that are going on, when will the elected officials actually be taking office after this election?
The new council members will take office the first meeting in December, and it's slipping my mind exactly what day that is, but whatever the first week in December.
It's that first week, like a Tuesday or something like that.
Exactly.
So it'll probably be like the 4th or so?
Yeah, let me think.
I think Saturday's the 1st.
3rd. Yeah, something like that.
So 3rd or the 4th?
You had to ask me that, and I don't have my calendar, but
It doesn't matter.
that's that
It's
first.
radio. We can
you can edit it out later, yeah.
Sure. We're supposed to be a little bit amusing and informative. And the same for the mayor?
Yes, absolutely. Because essentially the mayor is a member of council. He's elected 2 years, but he's not as strong a mayor as a lot of places have. So he's the 5th member of council.
So historically, how long do you think it's going to take for us to see some changes in these tallies? I mean, are we looking at something in an hour and a half?
I don't know. That I haven't actually covered one of the Napa elections before.
I talked to John Tudor earlier, and I believe he told me to call back and check with him at about 9:15 or so. So I'm guessing that would be a stepping stone.
And I think you'll see a lot of movement. I mean, it's hard to know which direction. Remember, what you're seeing. The interesting thing about the results you're seeing now is not a snapshot in time. This is a different kind of election than I've ever covered in 22 years of doing this because of the mail-in voting. Usually an election is a snapshot of what the voters are thinking today. What you're actually seeing on your computer screen right now is like a rolling average of what they've been thinking for the last month.
Yes. And that's why I started Radio Calistoga when I did, because I realized that. I realized that the mail-in vote was going to be 2 weeks before we even went to the polls officially, that our city council, our mayor, Measure B was all going to be decided prior to there even being polling places set up and open. And I realized that urgency, and that is kind of weird, isn't it?
It's changed everything, and it's been really interesting. As a journalist, it's been interesting to watch. It's been interesting to watch the candidates because they're behaving differently than I've ever seen them before. It used to be that they could sort of, diddle around a little bit the beginning and the end of September, beginning of October. They didn't have to worry about it. They've had to be on stage continuously since the first week in October. Absolutely, they are. You can see it. I mean, that's really taken a toll on them. And it's changed the way, it's made it even harder to predict elections. I've stopped predicting elections years ago. This has made it even harder.
Now, your beat used to be Washington, D.C.
I did.
And how does that differ from what we're seeing here in little 5,200 member, Calistoga?
It's in a lot of ways more interesting to do a small town election because it's really immediate. People come into my office and talk about it, or yell about it, or whatever.
And why wasn't their letter in the paper?
Right, exactly. There's that kind of thing, and a really immediate feedback, and it's a lot of fun. On the national level, how do you capture the drama of a presidential race? You can't, or even a congressional race. Congressional race is 700,000 constituents. How do you capture that? Well, 5,000 people is a small enough number that you can begin to kind of get
intimate, isn't it?
Intimate, and you can begin to get a sense of what people are thinking. I still can't predict the elections, but at least you can sort of get the temperature and figure out who's talking to who. And so this I find a lot more rewarding.
So my question is, I'm pretty sure that you're going to get some fallout letters to the editor, regardless of who wins and loses afterwards.
I don't know.
What do you plan on filling the paper with after you don't have any letters?
I don't know. Happy feature stories, cute children, pretty much anything. So if anyone wants to write a letter to the editor, you know where I am.
Like Girls on the Run bake sales?
Girls on the Run bake sale, yes.
We so appreciate you coming out to cover that yesterday. That was awesome.
There's a very high chance that that picture's getting in the paper this week, Dennis, because there's nothing else other than elections. No letters to the editor.
That is awesome. Were you familiar with Girls on the Run at all?
I'd heard of it. I didn't know that much about it until I had to look it up to write the caption. It seems like a really worthwhile thing.
And did you know that I'm a coach?
You told me that.
I did tell you that.
That's exciting.
It's the truth. I am actually the first male coach in the Napa Valley. Those were my ladies.
I think that's a very good thing.
And actually, for folks that don't know, they're going to actually be going out and doing their 5K on Saturday down at Napa Valley College.
I wish I could run 5K myself, but the knees won't let me.
I'll tell you what, man, they've been practicing for 10 weeks and they've been learning about relationships and a lot of different stuff and having a great time. And we certainly appreciate you coming out to chronicle that event. And I so appreciate you being my friend and giving me all the help that you have, because Radio Calistoga owes you a very great debt, because you've been there behind us all the way.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, brother.
Great.
Anything else I need to know about what I'm doing here?
No, just keep doing what you're doing and reading the numbers.
All right, Sean.
All right, see you,
Thank you very much. Sean Scully, editor of the Weekly Calistogan, stopping by to visit with us. And you can use my hotspot anytime, buddy.
Thank you.
I couldn't remember whether it was yes or no.
Jens is pro peace.